Greetings, greetings, family. Welcome, welcome to the Sista Shanice show. I am delighted, I am honored that we are going to be having a wonderful discussion with you again this evening. As you can see, two of my guests are already in the house. We got our brother Michael Evans from the USA, and we also have our Prophet Meduti from the UK. Sista Shanice here is coming to you live and direct from the Gambia. Yes, it's a beautiful sunny evening, a warm summer's night here in the Gambia. I can hear the birds tweeting away outside. Oh no, I think it's probably the crickets actually. The birds are probably sleeping by now. But, you know, it's just sounding beautiful. And I wish the entire family from the diaspora was here as well. We have just joining us back screen, our sister Kai in the house. Rise up, sis. And
greetings, sis. Greetings, everyone.
Yeah, let me run around and allow the panel just to greet each other and to greet our audience who are already in the house. Michael Evans, please greet our audience. Then Kai, and then our beloved Prophet.
So, greetings from Southern California. Just want to say hello to everybody, and I'm looking forward to interacting with the rest of the panel as we talk about what does it mean to have economic emancipation throughout the diaspora.
Oh, greetings, family. Thanks so much, Sister Shanice, for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm very, very excited about tonight's discussion, and I believe we're going to go home learning lots of things, but not only learning, but implementing those things as well. So thanks so much for having me on, and hi to everyone in the chat.
Otep and greetings in the name of the creative force of the universe, the omnipotent being, that which is greater than ourselves. Was many names, Olodumare, Nkulukulu, Kwame Blaforshe, Mungo, Onieme, Olumealre, Amenra, Ashe.
Ashe, to all African family. Sorry, my brother.
I was just saying, Akwaba to all African family across the world. Anywhere you're there, anywhere you're tuning in, and Akwaba to brother Michael and sister. I'm from. Well, Michael is from California. Sis, where you transmitting from, sis?
Southeast London.
Southeast London. Oh, well, you cross the road from you just cross cross the road from me. Come in Southwest London.
Yes, Prophet. We are in this together. Hopefully soon.
Picking up the South Londoners in the house, and also going over to the chat. Let's see who we've got in the house. Yes, we've got Etana, and she is viewing us from, she says, sunny UK. Is that right? You've got sunshine in the UK? Or is it just shining? Is the sun just shining in Etana's house? That's beautiful, shining from the inside out. And we've got Nubeline, Divine Rising to one and all from the UKKK. Rise up, Nubeline. We've got Winter Bacon in the house as well. We've got Slya Bonga in the house, who's saying very important topic today. We've got Afri Jamo in the house from Ghana. We've got my sister Verna in the house, and she's saying, oh, you're looking sun-kissed, sis. Yes, the sun just had deal with me out here. I mean, I love it. You know, I from it at all. Topping up my melanin.
Making us jealous, Sister Shanice.
I know.
Miss sorry, people. Miss sorry. We've got Robin Rose in the house, another South Londoner. We've got Royal Rising in the house. Family, welcome. And Afri Jamo is giving some fists to the Diaspora channel. Beautiful. Yes, our sister Kai, do you want to just introduce the Diaspora? I will introduce each of you in a short while. We have our other guest in the house. We have Lady O, who's joining us from Canada. Wonderful. So we have all of our guests in the house. We're about to start in a very short while. But before we do, let me just allow our sister from the Diaspora channel to tell us a little bit about her channel.
Oh, yes. The channel is the Diaspora channel. So he explained already what the channel is about, but I'm going to go a little bit, deep into it. I'm Kai Gabiam. That's my full name. And, I'm from Togo. Yeah. So that's West Africa, but I'm African first. So that's why the platform represents us all. It's not about me, it's about us. So I started this channel like 2019. Yeah, January 2019. I'll start, with just posting, product from Black owned businesses globally. Because at some point you just sit down and look around and ask yourself, what can I do? Instead of always, sitting back and then know what is happening, but think is the responsibility for others. I just say, let me start the page. I start the page by Black First UK on Instagram. So with that, I've been posting, different products from brothers and sisters in the States and here also in the UK, just to showcase, who is doing well within our global Black family. So fast forward 6 months after that, I just realized people can easily, just hide behind any screen and say, oh, you know what, this is a Black-owned business. Can you just, put my products out there? So that's where the idea of the YouTube channels came in. So I'm like, yeah, that would be good for me to see who is behind every brand and also give them the opportunity to interact with the viewers and show them their products and just for them just to know them, like how we do it back home is all about, connecting with one another. So that's where the Diaspora channel came from. So all about showcasing us and our products and brothers and sisters that are doing amazing things in our global African family, Black family, when it comes to being the change. So we have them on as well. So they can actually know that we see them, we appreciate them, and just thank them for what they are doing. Like, yourself, Sister Shanice, you know how, I feel about you already. I know Brother Prophet. Yeah, but I know what he is about as well. So thanks so much for doing what you guys are doing. I will be knowing more about Lady O and our brother Michael tonight. But the Diaspora channel is our channel. So if you're a business owner, simple, you just need to contact me and we do some digging. Once everything is good.
Put your details in the chat. Put your contact details in the chat. And let me just allow Prophet Maduti to talk about his Facebook live shows as well. Because I tell you, when this man do him radio show, him on fire. And, he does a Facebook live as well. So family, make sure you lock into our Prophet on his Facebook live shows. Please, Prophet, just share with the family when they might be able to catch you on the Facebook, as you call it.
Yeah, I do feel well. I'm a presenter like Sister Shanice on GalaxyAfiwe.com. That's Galaxy AFIWE.com. We are a dirty and brainwashing station, and we have a lot of presenters who bring different information. Talk shows. My talk show is on a Thursday evening from 9 p.m. till midnight GMT. So you can work out, that's Greenwich Mean Time, wherever you are in the world. And sometimes I have guests. I have a slot that I call the Unsung Heroes. So I talk about people doing things in our community that we don't hear about because there's this misnomer that the Africans are not doing anything. We're just sitting down here docile, and that's incorrect. And because we do not own these big conglomerate mainstream advertising and television stations, The real Africans who's doing the real grassroots work, they do not have a voice. So I tend to give them a voice. Last week, I had on one of our herbalists, doctors, Dr. Oliver from Jamaica, and Dr. Alkaline here, who are herbalists, and we was looking at ways to prevent ourselves from catching the C19 thing. And so we did that. So all you have to do, go on the Facebook and tap in Kwaku Bonsu, that's KWAKU BONSU, and you will see an Ankh, and you log on that, and I'm on the Facebook. And if there's anybody that you know, like the sister here, Kai, you know, you just cross the road, so you're down the bottom there, so you just cross the road. I'll take your details because I'd like to interview about the diaspora channel as well. That'd be very interesting. So that's what I do on a Thursday. And then on a Sunday, I'm on 10 a.m. to 12 midday GMT time. I burn the fire for black people. I'm gonna take no check. I'm gonna take back no talk.
For real, I tell you, if you want to come away feeling on fire, you know, to do the works, the Pan-Africanist works, just tune in to Prophet Maduti on a Thursday night or on a Sunday morning GMT time. So I will put the details in the description underneath this chat as well. Okay, let me start introducing our guest. Our sister lady hasn't had the opportunity to introduce herself as yet, so I will be starting with her. But before I do, I want to thank everybody in the audience for listening. I want to thank you in advance for sharing information about this show. Please tell a friend, please message a friend, please let everybody know about this channel. As our prophet was saying, there are so few platforms that we have as a people where we can come together and talk about issues that are of concern to us, talk about issues where, you know, it's from an African-centered perspective. So this is a platform that enables us to do that, just like the Big G Galaxy Afiwi enables us to have these really important conversations. And because, you know, we are scattered all over the world as a people, you know, each one can reach one. So it's up to you, our invaluable viewers, you know, to put the word out about these channels and to let people know that, hey, if you want to tune in to a channel where they're talking about African liberation, African advancement from a spiritual, economical, physical, and all the different perspectives, tune into the Sista Shanice show, tune into the Diaspora channel, tune into Prophet Maduti on the Facebook, tune into the Big G Galaxy Affiliate, the only de-brainwashing station. These are our platforms and our mediums that we need to use and we need to support to get the word out to our people. So to those who are already supporting the movement, I thank you so much. We all thank you. For all of the subscribers, I thank you so much. I'm trying to get my subscribers up to 10,000 by the end of January. I can still make it. You know, I'm just a few people away from 7,000. So it's about just 7,010 or so that I need to get to 10,000. So, you know, please do share. You know, we are the ones who are going to have to get our messages out to our people. We can't expect others to do it for us, okay? And so we all have a role and responsibility to ensure that we're reaching our people with the correct narrative, because it's our narrative that's going to be shaping our minds and our opinions. And whatever we have in our mind to do, that we will do. So we have to make sure we have the right information in our mind so that we carry out the right actions. All right, family, rising up the entire family. Let me also thank my Patreons. Those of you who are supporting me on Patreon, much love to you. And if you're not already one of my Patreons, what are you waiting for? Hey, just go on to www.patreon.com/Sista Shanice or search for me in Patreon, and you can become one of my supporters for as little as £3 a month. Every little make a muckle. Hey. All right, family. Let me introduce to you Lady O, who is the CEO of Least, Least Incorporation, and that's the parent company of Oak Network and several other businesses. She's the mother of 4 resilient children and 2 intuitive cats. She's committed to helping our community rise up and out of its slumber and toxicity that our ancestors are waiting for us to do. Her passion is for women to regain their matriarchal position and become guardians of the galaxy once again. My sis, please greet our audience today. Lady O, take
there
yourself
you go.
off.
Yes, yes. I'm so used to you saying, mute your phones, everybody, mute your phones. So I mute my phone and I'm like, oh, I got to unmute. So thank you so much, Sister Shanice, for that introduction. Thank you for being inviting me to be on the panel today. This topic is something that I'm definitely interested. I'm interested in all of your topics. So when I saw this topic today, I'm like, yes, I definitely want to be a part of it. And then the invitation came for me to be on the panel. So thank you so much, because I'm always here, either in the chat or I'm right on the screen with you. I'm always here with you, my sis. Always sharing. So please share this video, like this video. The algorithms is going to bring more people in. Share the information. I'm so happy to also share the platform with Michael Evans. Michael, it's good to see you again. We met on the Afric Views 2020 Global Summit by OT Samuels. OT, if you're in the chat, good to see you in the chat. And Michael was an amazing presenter, and he presented his powerful financial plan. And so I'm happy that he's here. I know he was on the show, your Galaxy After We show, and I listened to that and I was like, fire, his information. Like I'm super excited, because when we did our pre-show and what he shared with me, I was super excited. And I know your audience is going to be super excited about what he has to share. I'm just kind of upset that I'm not able to immediately take action because I'm in Canada. But I've been trying, Michael. I've been diligent in trying to find a way. But where there's a will, there's a way. But what he's going to show is going to be phenomenal for anybody that's able to take part in it, hit the ground running. And in anything, Sister Shanice was also on the summit with us, the 2020 Global Pan-African Summit that Afric Views hosted on Oak Network. And Oak Network is one of my subsidiaries. Least Inc. is the parent company of many other companies that are founded, launched, visioned. So Oak Network did that summit. So thank you, Odie Samuels of Afric Views, of partnering with me. And that summit was similar like what the Diaspora Channel is speaking about. It was a platform for diaspora entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs from the motherland to showcase their businesses so that we know who you are, where you are, what you do. One of my cats is trying to get on screen. What you do, and how we can serve you and how we can collaborate, because our money bounces out of our community way too fast. We know, we've heard it, we know it. And although we know it, we've heard it, we still do it. And so I try to eliminate all excuses for anybody to say they don't know, they didn't know that this person could serve them, they didn't know this business exists. And I'm here to give a platform for the diaspora entrepreneurs to connect with the motherland entrepreneurs, vice versa, see how we can do businesses. Because if I need a service here in Canada, but there's someone that is from my community that can serve, I prefer to bounce my money there. And I'm encouraging us to keep bouncing our money within each other's borders, knowing and entrusting that when we get the money, we bounce it back again to another brother and another sister, right? That's very, very important. So that is that's how we met. And I'm so excited for this opportunity to hear more of what Michael has to say. And greetings, Prophet Meduti. Greetings, my king. Greetings, my king.
Awesome. So I'm going to introduce Prophet formally, and then I'm going to introduce Michael, and he's going to go into topic. And then when we bring back in our sister Kai, I will do the formal introduction there as well. But we have new listeners and new viewers. And so, I want to let our family know a little bit about who we have in the house. So we have our brother Meduti, who we affectionately know as Prophet Kwaku, or the Prophet. And as he said when he was greeting the family, he's a presenter on the Big G Galaxy Afiwi every Thursday inside the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show from 9 p.m. through to midnight GMT time. And that's on galaxyafiwi.com. And he speaks about things that relates to our African community globally. He's also a teacher and teaches at the Nubia African Community Foundation Saturday School that has been running for 30 years. It's an African-centered school, and if you want to support that school in any way at all, financially, with its curriculum or whatever, please make sure that you reach out to our brother, Prophet Baduti. He's also a community activist, former chair of the African Emancipation Day Repatriation March Committee. He's a popular UK stand-up edutainer on the Black comedy circuit. He's a photographer at ADE Photographic Services and Sharp Photography. He does print, videographic work. He's a painter and decorator, but his main passion is African liberation, psychologically, culturally, physically, spiritually, technologically, economically, politically, you know, and just prefers to talk about Africation as opposed to education. Prophet, let's allow you a few minutes to widen your greeting before we bring in the topic for discussion today.
No, just to say that we give the ancestors thanks and a kwaba to the panel. It's beautiful to see that we have a couple of sisters on here with us to keep the balance, because it's a mahatical thing we're dealing with. And I don't want to take up too much time because, you know, there's so much people on here. So give thanks.
Give thanks to you, Prophet, every time. Yes, the panel, the viewers will say, we need more female energy, and your wishes are commands. And they spoke you all into existence, and I love it. I love it. Okay, let me introduce to you, family, our brother Michael Evans. He is the president of the Black Nationalist Investment Clubs for Rebuilding Black Detroit, a series LLC. He's also the president of Help Keep My Money, LLC, a Black-owned business management consulting business that's located in Southern California, where he provides consultancy services to government agencies, small businesses, non-profit organizations, and real estate investors. He has a bachelor's degree in economics from La Loyola Marymount University, where he was the school's first recipient of the Wall Street Journal's Award for Excellence in Economics. He has more than 20 years of experience in developing and managing complex operational and financial systems. His experience includes 4 years as the Chief Financial Officer, that's a CFO, Deputy Director of Finance and Administration for Santa Barbara County's Mental Health Department, where he developed and managed a $106 million annual budget while overseeing multiple divisions, including finance and accounting, IT, quality assurance, medical records, facilities, and administration. Michael was an active real estate investor from 97 through to 2005 and was paid $15,000 to buy his first house. He is also the developer of the Real Estate Deal Management Systems, a proprietary closed sales system for managing and shrinking risk while creating 25% profits per deal. Michael's been married to a wonderful wife, Tamika, since 2008, and they have lived in the Antelope Valley of Southern California, that's 60 miles north of Los Angeles, since 94. They have a total of 5 children, and their first grandchild is on the way, due in March 21. He runs a Black nationalist platform, Surviving America While Being Black. And as a Black nationalist, believes that we must take it upon ourselves to save the Black community without begging the government to help, but still take advantage of every law, program, and system that exists. He's developed a structured financial program that can move, he says, the African Black community forward. So we welcome our brother today to the Sista Shanice show to introduce to us this program. And then from there on, the discussion that we're going to be having about money, economics, and the African community. Michael Evans, welcome.
Wow. I really want to thank you for that introduction. I've never been introduced like that. I'm extremely humble to be here and to be among such other great Black nationalists and Pan-Africanists. And so I want to start off with that we do call ourselves Black nationalists, okay? And here in the United States, that term has had a negative connotation. If you look it up on Google or in Webster's dictionary, you'll see militant, you'll see separatist, you'll see segregist. But we, meaning Black folks, have chose to self-identify as Black nationalists, and we define Black nationalists as meaning anyone who wants to support the Black community to become self-sufficient, self-reliant, and self-determinate as expressed by their behavior, actions, and words, regardless of your skin color, your so-called race, your religion, your sexuality, your gender, or your political affiliation. And so the real question is, if you don't self-identify as a Black nationalist, then what do you identify as? So when we self-identify as Black nationalists, we believe that we are here to support the Black community to survive America while we plan, strategize, organize, and execute our exit to Africa, because ultimately that's where we need to go back. Now, we know that everybody's not going to want to go back to Africa. So for those who choose to stay in the United States, they have to survive America while Black. And so we developed a website called survivingamericawhileblack.com. And there you will see our mission, our definition of Black nationalism. And we really go off of Malcolm X's definition of Black nationalism as he described it in his famous The Ballot or the Bullet speech, in which he said there are three philosophies associated with Black nationalism. There's the political, there's the economic, and there's the social. And so at this time, what we're focusing on is the economic, because we must build an economic base, okay? The one thing that we know is the African continent has been chopped up into 55 little itty bitty countries compared to the 6 or 7 major kingdoms that traditionally have existed in the continent. And it was done on purpose. It was strategic in order to take away the economic and military might of the continent. Then you add those Africans that have been spread throughout the diaspora that whose connection was severed culturally from Africa, to where we don't even know what our roots are, right? And so it's time for us to make a plan to go back home. And when we go back home, we need to bring our resources back with us, both our financial resources as well as the brain trust from the diaspora, and bring it all back to bear in order to, as I say, I'm a MAGA fan, make Africa great again.
Ashe.
So, you want me to roll into exactly what our plan is, or do you want to have a discussion?
Before we do, let's just talk about definitions, because you actually gave a really interesting definition. The first time I heard that definition of Black nationalism was when you was on my show on Wednesday, actually, which took me a bit by surprise, because you actually identify non-Black people as Black nationalists, which is a really, I thought was quite bizarre, but interesting, and it's fine for different organizations to have their own definition of things. But, obviously from a Pan-Africanist perspective, when we talk about Black people, it's African stroke Black. And when we talk about Pan-Africanism and Black nationalism in the UK, you know, it is exclusively talking about Africans, melanated people. So it's interesting that in your part of the world, you know, you've broadened that Black to include non-Africans. But actually here in the UK, we have a group that they call BAME, the Black and Ethnic Minorities Communities. And that includes all your so-called other groups who are non-European, like the Chinese, the Indians, etc. in the BAME. So interesting concept. And we'll hear some more about how that's working in your neck of the woods. Before we go back, any other panel members like to comment on that definition or anything else that our brother has said by way of opening?
Yeah, I'd like to. No, go on, sister. I'll let you talk. Go on.
I was just going to piggyback on what Sister Shanice says. The first time I heard Michael explain that, I was like, that's a different spin on it. And I was like, how is that working in the definition there as to include anyone that supports our liberation and our self-sufficiency? So myself too, when I heard it here in Canada, I was like, that's a different spin on it. And I understand, the more he explained to me, I understand where he was coming from. But again, when you first hear it, you're like, hold on a minute, what? So I would wait for Michael to expand on it and to explain how is that reverberating back into his community when he says it and explains it that way.
Yeah, I'll take my brother and my sister.
Yeah, so
I don't know what your full definition is. I've just heard a brief explanation of it. However, I'm strictly dealing with African people. I would do business with other people because we're on a planet with different groups of people. But when we're organizing structures and things like that, I'm strictly African. I'd have to hear a bit more about the brother's explanation, and I don't think this is the place for it. That's another platform for another time, because we're talking about the economics. If it falls within the criteria of what we're talking about, I'll be glad to hear more, definitely. But for me, it's strictly African.
Shay, rise up. Let's go over to the economics and find out about this plan that can help to rise us as a people from the financial situation that, you know, we find ourselves in so many inner city areas in the diaspora. Rise up. Over to you, my brother.
Sure. So before I move on, I do want to just talk about African. Okay. So understand, every single human being that exists on this planet is of African descent. Okay. Every single Homo sapien derived from Africa genetically. So when we start talking about what do you define as an African, okay, this is where we need to start looking at, how do you behave? Do you support the values of what is traditionally defined as an African? So again, skin color, race, those are things that were made up by white terrorists in order to try to divide people. What I'm concerned about is, what is your behavior, actions, and words say, and how do you support the Black community? Because, and I'll just be honest with you, I know some so-called white people that act more Black than some of the darkest Black people that I know. So I don't care about what your skin color is. I care about, what have you done? What do your actions show to prove that you support the Black community? So that's why we defined it the way that we did.
Okay, let me announce you. Sorry,
Sister Shanice.
Yes, my brother.
This is why I said it. This topic here needs a show in itself.
Yes, I agree.
I don't agree. I don't.
Let's do
one
that.
second. I don't agree that all of us are come from the same root.
Me neither.
I don't agree with that. It's a theory. And there are other, and these are all theories that have scientific evidence to back them up. If you read Civilization of Barbarism, Sheikh Anta Diop, he deals with that sort of thing. The reality is this: is that that last statement that some white people that behave more African or black than African and black people, that statement in itself can be debunked, because we know that the Europeans kidnap us, put us in their concentration camps, impregnated some of us, raped all of us, man, woman, and child. You understand me? Them never partial. Destroyed our culture, destroyed our language, destroyed our mores, etc., and our spiritual practices and our economical base, which we're talking about, and then turn us into these very same people who do not behave African now, who would say them is not African themselves. So I refute that statement by my beloved brother, but I feel that it would take another show just to deal with that.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think we need to have a show where we have this conversation. And, it's fine for people to have their own particular opinions and beliefs. We are a diverse, community. We don't all share the same views. We are from different ethnic groups. We have different religions, some of us, different belief systems. And, that will come through on some of these shows. But the one good thing is that the people who we do have, have the interest of our people at heart. Some will say people generally, but definitely looking to offer something that, our entire community as Africans can benefit from. So we will park that conversation, which is a whole nother show, and a very interesting one it will be as well. So we will have that discussion, and you're welcome to come back, Michael, when we have that discussion and Prophet. But let's turn the conversation now over to economics. And you ready to go into that now, Michael?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So,
all right.
When George Floyd was murdered back in May of last year, here in the United States, we had the rapper Killer Mike, who's also a black activist out of Atlanta. He was on national TV with Mayor Bottoms, and he made a profound statement. And this is something that Killer Mike has been saying for years. He says, we as black folk, we need to plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. He said, we are great at organizing and mobilizing. We are horrible at planning and strategizing. When I heard that, I decided to take him to task, and I got with some other like-minded people that were part of a Facebook group called the Blackout Coalition. Now, anybody that's on Facebook may have heard it. It was started by a gentleman named Calvin Martyr back in the beginning of May, right? Calvin's goal was to get 50,000 black folks to boycott purchasing anything on July 7th to show some economic solidarity. Once George Floyd was murdered and July 7th came around, his Facebook group, which had a couple hundred people at the beginning of May, because I was at the beginning, on July 7th had 1.7 million black people, right? That showed that the tide had turned. In less than 2 months, he went from a group of a couple hundred people to 1.7 million people, and that decided on July the 7th to show their economic power by not buying anything. But on July the 8th, they asked Calvin, what's next? What next, Calvin? What's the plan, Calvin? Now, of course, Calvin was overwhelmed. He wasn't anticipating 1.8 million people to show up. He was getting 16,000 Facebook post requests every single day. He didn't have the expertise to manage that. He didn't have the organizational capacity. And it took him several months to really get his feet underneath him in order to handle that. Well, me and some other people from the Blackout Coalition decided we need to sit down, we need to strategize, we need to plan, and we need to come up with a plan. And that's what we did. We came up with an economic plan. And our economic plan is this. We use investment clubs coupled with qualified opportunity funds in order to create private gated, Black owned and controlled master planned communities in America. Okay, so let me go back over that again. We use investment clubs in order and team it with qualified opportunity funds in order to create private gated Black owned master planned communities. So here's the reason why we decided with investment clubs. Here in the United States, investment clubs are designated by the IRS as social clubs. In the United States, social clubs can legally discriminate. That's how we have our fraternities. That's how we have our sororities, where they discriminate based on gender. So by using investment clubs, we can legally discriminate by those that self-identify as Black nationalists, supporting the Black community through their actions, behavior, and their words. We use investment clubs to practice group economics in order to bring our money together. Investment clubs also are defined by the SEC in the United States. An investment club is a group of people who come together to invest in stocks, bonds, real estate, other types of securities. And as long as it's less than 100 people and $5 million of assets under management, they're all active investors, and there's an education component. They do not get regulated by the SEC. So what are we doing? We are strategizing and using the government's systems to our benefit in order to self-repriate. And you'll hear me use that term, self-repriations. What that is rather than waiting and begging for money from the government, from the United States government specifically, to give us reparation that's due to us, we use their systems, their regulations, and their laws in order to pool our money together and our resources in order to create our own reparations. And so this is a method for us to self-repriate. So that's the basis of how we in the United States are able to use the United States laws in order to practice group economics. So any question on that so far?
Okay, rise up, my brother. Thanks for outlining that. Let's go to the panel. And what I'm going to do as well is bring in, some other aspects of the economy that affect us as a people as well. But let me go around to the panel and hear from our panel members first of all. Lady O, over to you, my sis.
Thank you so much, Sister Shanice. So in just recapping the first part of what you just said, Michael, you're saying that you're using our group economics to create a self-sustained, private gated community for our community. And that is basically that's what the first part of what you just
Correct.
mentioned is about. Okay. And what you're saying is that you're using this was birthed from the feedback that you saw from that movement from Calvin Mater, that individuals from our community are looking for ways to financially make that statement that we know money talks. picketing, protesting, all of that is great. But what you're saying is when he made that call for a financial response, that's what you saw the community eagerly responded to. So you put your brains together with some other individuals and say, okay, how can we really make an economic impact? Is that what that was just the gist of the first part?
I'd go with that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because what we saw is with the murder of George Floyd, we saw a level of awareness, especially here in the United States, that we haven't seen since the LA riots of 1992, when everybody saw Rodney King getting beat half to death. Okay? And except this time, now this sentiment is worldwide, right? This level of awareness is a worldwide awareness, right? It's been labeled the Black Lives Matter movement, which is way bigger than the Black Lives Matter organization, okay? And what we saw just from this one Facebook group, going from a couple of hundred to 1.7 million in 2 months, was a desire to take action, but there wasn't a plan.
Right.
Got it.
Up. So, and also just to say that, this is a strategy that could be rolled out, globally. It's a strategy that can be applied in Africa. It can be applied in Canada. It can be applied in the UKKK. So, for those who may be living outside of America and are thinking, well, I don't really want to invest in America, it's a concept and a program that can actually be started anywhere in the world. So do look at it from that perspective. Lady O, did you want to come back? And then let me bring in our sis from the Diaspora channel, and then
Sure.
Prophet Maduti.
Sure. Yes. That that is where I had seen when I saw the presentation. I wanted to know how that would be applicable here in Canada. If I was not able to partake in what he was stating, because it is the American presentation, and Michael explained more about that process. So I'll have the other panels come around.
All righty, rise up. Bringing in our sis Kai from the Diaspora channel.
Yeah, I like the fact that you highlight this same principle. We can implement it also on the continent, because personally, we have to understand that there will be brothers and sisters that will choose to stay in the West. Mm-hmm. But the thing that matters the most right now is for us pulling our resources, our money, and build in Africa. Because when we are strong as Africans, the way even the whole world will treat us will be completely different than the way they treat our brothers and sisters on this planet. So if we can work, with this and implement it on the continent right now, for me, that I will be more, about that than building here, because it's like we have hearts. Let's say that's just something in us about caring about all people. But we have to realize that it's not all people that are for us. So when you've been doing something for a long period of time, like I said, some brothers and sisters who choose to stay in the West, we will do what we can do as well to support them. But any building now, when it comes to pulling our funds and resources to build anything, I think more about what can we do on the continent than building, in the West.
Rise up, my sis. Bringing in Prophet Maduti.
Yeah, Otep. I often hear brothers like my brother Michael, and I've got nothing against the brother setting up where he is, because I just saw him live, and I'm going to make sure him family and everybody there is all right. But I think that I echo more what Sister Kai is saying. We have to develop Africa. Our most eminent prophet and King, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, said, when Africa is strong, we will be strong. You know, you can be strong in America, in pockets, but it don't make you as a nation strong. I think one of the things, I think it was a brother said it earlier, in how they split up Mama Africa. You know, they split them up in these 54 different states instead of the 6 kingdoms, and it was specific, and they destroyed the economical structures. So I'm setting up in the enemy's camp, and let me say that the United States of America doesn't belong to Europeans, yeah, none at all. I think that a lot of things happens. We have to be very mindful that there were indigenous people there already, and anything that we're doing, we mustn't be as arrogant as the Europeans to just go along like these people have never existed, or we are no better than they are. You understand me? And so with the project that I'm involved with in Ghana, the Garvey Town project, it's solely about Africans. I'm not interested in nobody else's business, but our business. We can do business with them. When we have control of our resources, then they will have to give the necessary funds or whatever credits it is we desire to dictate what prices we sell our iron ore, our coltan, our cobalt, our uranium, or plutonium, etc. All the building blocks for the advancement and defense of a nation. I'm not into this kumbaya thing. I'm 58 years old. I don't know how long I have left on the planet. So it's not about me. It is about my children, my grandchildren, them, and the rest of our African children. Anything I do now is not for me. It's not for my personal gain. It's for those yet to come. You know, there's a saying in Ghana, in the Constitution, it says, the land belongs to those yet to come. And so everything I do is for the benefit of the future, because I am benefiting from the sacrifices of those that came before me. I stand on shoulders of those that came before me, those that sacrificed their life, their family, so that I could be even on this platform here, born white people, and stand up in a white boy face and tell him, oh, where we go and where not we go, and do certain things strictly for African people. I don't have enough time on planet Earth to worry about nobody else. It's not me aspersion it to any other group. But if you look at every other group, nobody now worry about we. The China man now worry about we. The Indian man now worry about we. The Arab man now worry about we. The European now worry about we. All they do is abuse us. All of them. We invited them in. We welcome them. Yeah, we welcome the Greeks. Them abuse us. We welcome the Romans. Them abuse us. We welcome the Arabs. Them abuse us. We welcome the French, the British, all of them, and they abused us. And now their societies is so technologically developed, and in all of that what they did, they still have to turn to we to initiate technology. Right there in the United States of America, where our beloved brother lives, most of the technological advancement, if you do your research, it's black people behind it. It's Africans. Yeah, not white Africans, black Africans. Yeah, who's behind all of that with all of what they have done to us. So for me, from an economical point of view, we have to get ourselves strong as Africans. We have to sort out the rubbish amongst ourselves, the traitors, the treasonous people, them. We have to create for self. And then once we have created for self and build up our defense force to defend what we have created, then we can share with everybody else, knowing that if anybody gets out of order again, we can defend ourselves against them. And that's my position.
Rise up, my brother Prophet. Thank you so much for that. Lots of thumbs up in the chat as well. Lots of comments in the chat. So, you know, do look in the chat periodically, family. If you want to respond to any questions, that's fine. Just want to turn to something that Prophet was saying about the wealth of Africa. And it's really important that we remember this when we talk about money, when we talk about finances, when we talk about Black economics, you know, and going back to what Sister Kai was saying about, you know, our power lies in Africa. When Africa is strong, we will all be strong. Just like when you've got a strong China, Chinese people, wherever they are in the world, are regarded as strong individuals. Whilst Europe is strong, as a European, anywhere in the world, you know, you are regarded as being, you know, part of a strong nation. And, you know, we've got to help to build Africa in any way that we can. And, you know, if there are good models that are in America, in the UK, or anywhere else that we might be able to look at and adapt, that's going to help to build Africa, then that's absolutely fantastic. But it's also important to know that Africa is growing anyway already. And, you know, this is something that needs to be touched on. And the wealth of Africa as well, we need to highlight for ourselves, because the mainstream media doesn't tend to remind us of how wealthy Africa actually is, and the battle that's actually going on out there for control of Africa. Just before COVID, we were seeing the Russian-Africa Summit, the China-Africa Summit, the India-Africa Summit, the UK-Africa Summit. They were all there trying to get a piece of Africa. Why were they all there? Because 9.6% of the global oil output comes from Africa. 90% of the world's platinum supply is in Africa. 90% of the world's cobalt supply, Africa. 50% of the world's gold supply is in Africa. 2/3 of the world's manganese, Africa. 35% of the world's uranium, Africa. 75% of the world's coltan, Africa. And that comes from a documentary that was highlighting it in its report. And if we look also at Africa's economy just before COVID, you know, a number, now let me get that number, I think it's about 38% of the fastest growing economies in the world were actually in Africa. The GDP per capita for sub-Saharan Africa in 2002 was $588. By 2019, it actually grown to $1,600. That was a 272% wealth increase in less than 2 decades. Africa is the new frontier. Africa is where it's at. Nigeria, Botswana, and Ghana growing at a rate now considered to be a middle income economy. Now, from a Pan-Africanist perspective, we want to see the whole of Africa rise. It's not enough just to build an African middle class. It's not enough just for us to have more investors in Africa that are contributing to the GDP when our people on the ground are not benefiting. This now what we're saying is we need models, you know, that's going to help the ordinary people on the ground, you know, be able to pool their resources and energies together, you know, to be able to be part of the growth and development that we all want to see Africa have. You know, we recognize the need for infrastructural development. We're the ones who are going to have to come together and actually do that, you know. So we need to be looking at, you know, strategies and models that we can put in place on the ground in Africa that our people can buy into, that's going to help mobilize and develop Africa to become the economy that our people can benefit from. Otherwise, it's going to be the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, and all of the others, you know, who are going to continue taking pieces of Africa away with them and not putting anything back. So let's go back to our brother Michael so that he can elaborate on this model. And for those who want to join the model in the USA, fantastic. For those who want to create a similar model in Africa, maybe it's something we could link into Michael and do, who knows. But let's have the conversation. Let's put it out there. We've got great models, just like our brother Prophet was saying. We've got great creators and great inventors, because we are a creative and inventive people. Even during our enslavement, we were inventing. But let me zip it that's all and bring back Michael again. We don't come again, brother Michael.
Yeah. So here's the thing that we must all. Here's the thing that we must all keep in mind, okay? Terrorists, formerly known as supremacists, are not going to just allow us to survive. They're not going to allow us to unite Africa, to make it greater. They're going to allow us to do that. So we must be very strategic in how we go about doing this. Now, there are three things that white terrorists respond to. One is the threat of violence. It's either violence or the threat thereof. The second is money, and the third is votes. Okay? So until we as a collective have two of those three things, we are at a strategic disadvantage. So we must be strategic in how we go about doing this. Okay? What we know doesn't work, you cannot go heads up with this system. It has not worked for the last 100+ years. Every African leader who has tried to go heads up against the white terrorists has either found themselves assassinated or overthrown through a coup. Okay? So we have to be strategic in the way that we do this. When we look at specifically African Americans, 40 to 50 million people, $1.2 to $1.4 trillion of spending power, about $700 billion of wealth. If African Americans were a nation upon themselves, they would be the 13th largest grossing GDP nation in the world. Okay? So it makes sense to start organizing African Americans. Okay? It makes sense to build an economic base in the United States. Doesn't mean that we can't simultaneously do it in the UK, that we can't simultaneously do it in the countries that are in Africa. I'm in the United States. I know America. So I choose to focus on the United States, and I know how the United States works. I know that since the murder of George Floyd, there is now the desire and the willingness to come together. We haven't been like this since the 60s. Is the last time that African Americans in the United States had this level of unity, okay? Not since the Black Power movement, which was destroyed by the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover through the COINTELPRO propaganda and campaign. So we already know what their playbook is because the FBI laid it out clearly in the 60s and the 70s. War is war against Black people. War on crime is a war against Black people. Abortions is war against Black people, right? We have to be strategic in the way that we move things. So what I believe and what the group that I am a part of believe is that through the use of investment clubs with qualified opportunity funds and creating these private, gated, Black-owned and Black-controlled communities, what we do is we start to build that economic base because the economic base is based on real estate, right? You have to own land. Once you own land, and then you have the means of production, and if you do it in gated communities, now you start to recycle that Black dollar, which currently doesn't recycle at all, okay? Now you start to concentrate, how is that $1.4 trillion spent every year by Blacks in the United States? Now you start to create generational wealth that's based on real estate. In the United States, we have a thing called qualified opportunity funds. We can thank President Trump when he passed his 2017 Jobs and Tax Act. He also passed the Investing in Opportunity Act, which created opportunity zones, which created opportunity funds. Real briefly, here's the benefit of an opportunity fund. It allows anyone in the United States to roll over capital gains into an opportunity fund that invests in opportunity zones. Opportunity zones are basically poor areas in the United States where a lot of blacks live. But you can only use capital gains to invest in opportunity funds. When you do that, there are 3 huge tax benefits. One, you don't pay any tax on that capital gains until 2026. When you don't pay tax on something, your money continues to work longer for you. The second is come 2026, if it's been invested in an opportunity fund for at least 5 years, now you get a 10% reduction in the tax that's owed. The third is if you keep it invested for 10 years, the appreciation of that investment is now 100% tax-free when you sell it. So I use the example. If you own Apple shares right now and you've made $100,000 and you sell it and you roll it over in the next 180 days into a qualified opportunity fund and you invest it for 10 years, and let's just say it grows from $100,000 to $300,000. So that's $200,000 gain that you won't have to pay any tax on. You don't pay income tax. You don't pay capital gains tax. You don't pay what they call the ATM tax. Okay. It is by far the greatest legal means by which Black people can redevelop our Black areas with real estate while simultaneously creating generational wealth. So that's the tool that we've chosen to focus on here in the US in order to build that economic base, which will ultimately allow us to be able to transfer that wealth and to assist the entire diaspora.
That sounds like a beautiful idea, my brother. However, I'm not into that investing in stuff in them lands for that length of time. If you're doing that, it would be good that you tie that up in trust for your children. You understand? I don't know what age you are, but 10 years from now, I'm 68, touching 70. You understand? So it's not going to be for me. You understand what I'm saying to you? And so I still is of the notion that we should concentrate on developing things that our children will inherit. And so developing the minds of our children to take over those things and developing the mind that here is not your own. It was never your own. Your own. And this is, you see, I can speak from the position of a kidnapped child. My descendants was kidnapped from Mama Africa and taken to the Caribbean. And then my parents come from the Caribbean and came here. So I don't tell my children them about developing nothing in Britain. Me tell them anything you get, you so you take it and go back Africa with it. But that's how you forgot, and that's how you develop. And so for me, that's a very that structure you got is very good. I was wondering how could you replicate that in Mama Africa? Have you got a division in your company or in your organization that's looking to develop in Africa simultaneously, or is this structure just within the United States of America?
So the one thing that we learn about being strategic is that you have to do multiple things simultaneously, right? So Malcolm X's famous saying is, by any means necessary. And our saying is, by all means necessary. And so we can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? But I can tell you this, I can't help build up Africa if I can't survive where I'm at, right? If I can't feed myself, clothe myself, house myself, educate myself, feed and protect myself, how can I help anybody else if I can't survive? So each of our survival must be the very first thing of our priorities. We have to survive in order to be able to transfer resources to Africa. Otherwise, they will continue to do what they've been doing for hundreds of years, which is just kicking us off as we try to rise up and do things in Africa. All they've done is either assassinate or develop coups. We have to develop a long-term strategy. We have to be strategic about it, because the thing that are, they're very strategic. They're very strategic. They've got their systems in place. Their systems and institutions outlive them to continue on the horrible works that they put in place. So you are right. We have to create generational wealth. We have to re-educate ourselves. One thing that we know, we can look at other cultures. We can look at the Japanese after World War II. We can look at the Chinese since the 1980s. It takes one generation to totally change people. Okay? The Japanese, after they had 2 atomic bombs dropped on them, within 20 to 30 years, in the 80s, they tried to buy America. They came and tried to buy up all the commercial property in America, I believe, as a means of getting back at America for dropping them bombs on them. Okay? When you look at the Chinese in the 80s was an agricultural-based economy. Look at them now, literally within one generation. So what we know with Africa is that within one generation, Africa can become the leading superpower in the world. But we ain't the only ones that know that, right? White terrorists know that. China knows that. And not just going to allow that to happen. They never have, never will. So we have to be strategic in the way that we do it. And again, I believe there's those 3 things: violence or the threat thereof, money, and votes. We need 2 out of 3 in order to become that quote unquote superpower. When you look at China, and you have to ask yourself, how did white terrorists allow China to become a superpower in 25 years? Well, they didn't allow China. China has been a superpower for thousands of years, right? It's one of the oldest civilizations on the planet. It has always had a superpower position in the world, except for 200 years, the 1800s and the 1900s. That's it. So what the Chinese know is that when they come together as a collective and move as one, they are unstoppable. And they have proven that. Okay? Africans can be the same way as long as we come and start to move as one. Now, we're spread out throughout the diaspora. Some of us have been disconnected from our cultural and our heritage and everything like that. The greatest tool that we have is what we're on right now, social media. Okay? The internet is the best thing that ever happened to Black folks in the last couple hundred years, because they can no longer, white terrorists can no longer control the dissemination of information the way that they had been doing up until that time. Their best effort to control
can I just jump in there, my brother?
Fake news. Sure, go ahead.
I'm permission from my sisters to, because I don't know if any of the sisters want to say anything.
Okay, I'll bring them in after you, Prophet, if that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Right. A couple of things. Africa was always a superpower, right up until the 14th century. In fact, right up until the 15th century. Africa was always a superpower. We had empires running things. The Chinese were never enslaved. They were invaded, but they were never kidnapped from their homeland and enslaved. They moved to places as indentured servants, but never enslaved. No group on this planet endured what we endured apart from the Native American people in the soil where you are now. So we cannot equate the Chinese with we, and our civilizations and our empires are older than the Chinese. Yeah, we were trading with the Chinese long before the Europeans came out of the cave. So that's the first point. And I agree with you that when we galvanize our resources together, we can turn things around. But there's no resources nobody bringing to Africa more than this, and manpower. The knowledge that they have stolen and refined within their boundaries. Don't talk about resources, because all with them teeth out of Africa, we don't need it, because we have more, much more there. We just need our people with the skills of being an architect, an engineer, a nanoscientist, satellite worker, all them kind of technological science to come home to Africa and help Africans develop the resources that is there. And then we can sell it to them, not give them the resources and then buy back the products. You understand me? So this about bringing resources to Africa. No, nobody no need to bring no resource. The only resource them need to bring is people with technological know-how, because all the resources are there. And a third thing, Africa is developing. We have car manufacturers. We have our own scientists. But as you said before, my beloved brother, we don't control the external media. We just have social media. So them not gonna promote how Africa is developing and them things there. There's people in the Americas where you live and different parts of the diaspora think that people in Africa are still living in huts. And there's no road and there's no industry, no e-commerce and them things there. Africa are going with things. It's just that we don't know about it. You understand what I say? And so I'm fully aware of all that technological things that happen within the West. And again, you know, people live, you know, we live here, we live a certain way, and we want to live that way when we live it, when we leave here. You understand me? But we have to take that first jump. When my parents came here, them never have nothing. My parents come out England, you know, them never have nothing. One room them are living at. My father, the first job him do, he was serving tea before he could execute him trade. You understand what I say? So if our parents can take that jump to jump out into the unknown, why can't we take that jump to jump into the known? Because the known is Mama Africa. And everything that I do, where I talk to my children in the Saturday school, where we Africate the children them about who they are and get them to say, you need to Africate yourself and acquire certain knowledge and certain skills. And those skills, you know, eventually you should use it for the development of your people and your continent. That's what I think we should be doing. I agree with you about strategy. I have no issues with about strategy. But Africa have to be at the core of anything we do. Even if we're looking after ourselves, and yes, we know all them talk that we have to clothe ourselves. We all them something all the while. And I don't know that. Anyway, you're there, you have to live. If you're in Africa, you have to clothe yourself first. You have to feed your family. We don't know that. But what do we do next? What's the prime objective? That's the question. What is the prime objective? And from my position and my organization, our prime objective is the development and advancement and the liberation of the cultural, spiritual, economical practices of our motherland. Okay.
Rise up, Prophet. Thank you for your intervention there. Let me, your contribution there, rather. Let me bring in Sister Kai, who we haven't heard from for a little while. Sister Kai, your thoughts, opinions, comments on what's been discussed so far?
I think what Brother Michael said the strategy part is very, very important. And what I can add, what brother, the prophet is saying, someone already said it in the chat. We have lots of projects in Africa, but without money, I agree that we have resources there. But still, before we move here and start fixing certain things, we still need money, though we have lots of resources there. So we can't neglect that aspect. So marrying both of the brothers' ideas, I think that's what we need to start, embracing. So personally, that's what I would say. Great, the resources are there, but we need the funds as well to implement things that we want to do on the motherland.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for your contribution there, Sister Kai. And, this is where we are now with the conversation about the power of money to transform resources into produces that can be manufactured, that can be marketed, and that can be sold. The power of money. I mean, some people will look at money and they'll see it as maybe just bits of paper. And some people will look at money and they will see it as currency, as energy. This is what, people work for. Money seems to stimulate or seems to bring out an energy to want to make things happen. So we could have a great idea. There could be a mine there that needs digging. Yeah. But unless there's money, people, the way we've been conditioned, we're not going to get up out of bed to go and dig and do the mining unless the money's going to be there to pay us at the end of the month. But what about if we had the mindset where we had the energy to dig because we're going to be mining for our future generations? We're going to be mining, to bring up the resources that can then be turned into products for our future generations. What about thinking we need to make a sacrifice in order to be the change that we want to see? And as our brother Michael was saying earlier as well, within one generation, Africa can change. Africa can become a leading technological country. Now, we're already leading on many fronts, but we're just not going to get the recognition and the accolade for it because, as has been said, we don't control the media. But as was pointed out, Africa has its own car manufacturing companies. It does have its factories. It's doing, if you look at some of the great cities across Africa that's going up, you would think that you were in cities in the West that we see all the time in their mainstream media, but that we don't tend to see in Africa. Africa has got technology, it's advancing, its infrastructure is growing year on year. There's a huge amount of development happening in Africa. So in terms of currency, and the energy that we get from money, what about if we started looking at how we could use that energy to contribute towards the growth and the development of the next generation? So that's one thing. Secondly, in terms of money, what about if we look at, creating our own economic network so that wherever we are in the world, we are trading with each other. So we're trading with each other, not just on a local level or on a national level, but on an international and global level, which is what Europeans do after all, because, they have created a global network for themselves. So, for example, when I was in Zimbabwe, I noticed that the Europeans, they stuck together as a clique. They all had their businesses. If a new European visited the country, they would bring them in as part of the club. They would do business with each other's businesses, and they would export to their fellow brothers and sisters abroad. So they're doing business with their own people. What we tend to do is not realize the race dynamics and seek to do business with other people in business, whether they are of our hue or not. Whereas what they tend to do is stick with their own. They seek out their businesses to do business with wherever they are in the world. So, you can have businesses, European businesses in France, doing business with European businesses in Holland, in Belgium, in America. They are basically doing business with each other around the world. They created their business network. We need to also create our own business matrix where we are circulating and bouncing that pound within our community, not just locally, but globally. And this is where the $1 trillion power spend that you're talking about the Americans having being spent not just in America, but also in Africa, also in the Caribbean, and wherever we are in the world, and building all of our own economies. Prophet, I heard you wanted to jump in there. Then we're going to bring in Lady O, who we haven't heard from for a while.
Yes, Sister Shanice, that's a very poignant thing that you say, because anywhere you find the Europeans on the continent, they only clique with themselves, and they have their own little private armies within Africa, protecting themselves. And the key factor to what Brother Michael was saying, he said it 3 times, they will not allow you, and being strategic. One of the strategies that we must look at is defense. We must look at defense. We must run away from that. We must look to defend anything that we're creating. Because just like Black Wall Street, them drop a bomb on it. See? When the Black Panther Party was creating something for black people, they infiltrate them turn them into criminals and destroy the organization. The same with the Universal Negro Improvement Association, Marcus Garvey and ACL, them destroy it. You understand what I say? So we must look at defense to defend our e-commerce. As we could create all this economics, we can create all this money and these things. And once them discover where we have, yeah, them just come thief and box up and take it when we can't defend it. Because that is the nature of who we're dealing with. We're not dealing with people who like to share. They like to share when them a share out the something. Because them always hold back most of it. You understand me? So defense is a key thing that we have to look at when we're dealing with economics. Okay.
Rise up, Prophet. Defense, absolutely critical. Agree with you on that, especially when we remember Wall Street as you did then. And as you said earlier, this is where, the technological know-how is critical because, I believe that our defense lies in our technological abilities, and it's in the mind, and it's just waiting for its creator to bring it forth. But we have to make sure that when the creator of that super technological defense system, which is almost like a force field around Africa, when they come up with the idea, that they don't just take it to those who don't look like us, don't like us, and sell it to them, which will then be used against us. But anyway, let me allow Lady O to come in because we haven't heard from you for a while, my sis. What are your views, thoughts, and comments on the conversation that we've been having so far?
This is how I see the strategy. And it's what everybody's saying on the panel, and I was also looking at what the chat is saying. The reality is, as we all are aware of, Africa has leadership. And Africa leadership is a part of the problem. And the reason why they're part of the problem is because the people are kept at a standard of living where they see, and they continually see, Europeans as the hope, the answer, the solution. And not just Europeans, because Asians aren't Europeans, but they're just a very light shade that's very close to European. What's very important for us to understand is, to build Africa, we have to build ourselves. The strategy that I see that makes sense: invest in, if you are in America, I'm in Canada, so I can't partake in Michael's strategy. But any of my contacts that I know are there, I send them to Michael's site. And this is the strategy. The Chinese are taking over the motherland. As much as we want to educate ourselves, they're taking over because they're not making deals with the neighborhood. They're making deals with the leadership. So let's just be real here. They're not making deals with those that are on the ground. They're making deals with the leadership. So this is how I see it. This is just how I look at it. And this is what I know to be true here in Canada. I don't know where else, anywhere else. But wherever the Chinese 2 or 3 are gathered, you know, when we say where 2 or 3 are gathered, there it is. Wherever they gather, their money go back to the homeland. It is part of like a contract that once they leave the homeland and they migrate to anywhere, they build up, they create a community wherever they are. That money stays there, but a portion of that money goes back to the mainland. The mainland stays and the mainland does its thing, but wherever you go outside of China, all the Chinese that are in all the different countries in Africa, none of their money bounces into the community right there. It goes right back to China. All of the infrastructure, all the stuff that's happened in the motherland, based on all of the documentaries that I'm seeing, and also heard of the speech from the UN ambassador, she put everybody on blast, and that went viral last year, about the loans and the debts that the African countries are in through France, through Germany, through everybody else. Because the leadership is the one making the plans, people. How can we take back the power, people? Yes, you're saying to send engineers back. Yes, you're saying to, but the leadership is the one that's going to be making all the blue tape, red tape, purple tape, black tape, yellow plate, and all the tapes that's there. So this is how I see it. They're not going to allow us to just bring all of our intellectual property and build up, and they just sit back with their hands folded. They're not going to. So this is how I see the strategy. Michael's framework is great if we can duplicate it in Africa. I would love for it to be duplicated in Canada. Why? Because I'm here. And I know if we can get a community here, just the mere fact that if we in the UK and America and Canada, if we have our own self-sufficient community, trust and believe, they don't want that because they know it's what? Duplicatable. That's number one. So what Michael is doing, I want him to succeed where he's at. Because once it is going to, when it is successful, Michael, so I'm speaking into existence, you would create a blueprint. The individuals who are invested in your plan, they're going to see it. And what I would love for them to do, and if you share this video with your people, this is what I think their strategy should be. Part of the proceeds of your fund or part of the proceeds, find a way for it to go back to Africa. Let's send some of that monies back to Africa. What I love about what Michael is saying, and I look at a bigger picture. My prophet, he's in his 50s, I'm in my 40s. So everything we do, yes, is generational. You could will all that to your children, yes. But listen to what he's saying. The tax shelter that you are going to acquire, if you're in America, run to Michael's site. Listen to the big picture here, people. The tax shelter you're going to get once you stay there is the same tax shelter that all of the Europeans have been sheltered under. And it's that same money that they use with that shelter that they go and they terrorize us. They terrorize us in Africa and where we are here. Every time there's a leadership that rises up, they terrorize them with the money. Guess whose money they're using to assassinate your leaders who want to emancipate you? The same money they're using under these shelters in America, in the UK. So I understand where we want to build up America, and we want to build up Africa. But we have to understand their strategy. Every time one of your African leaders rise up to emancipate their people, they get assassinated, not with African dollars. They're using foreign dollars that we help make possible with their tax shelters. So this is what I'm passionate about, because I need us just to wake up and see the real picture here, people. If you are in America, go and look at Michael's plan when he shares his information. Get a strategy in place so we can find reason that whatever Prophet has in Ghana, whatever Sister Shanice has in Gambia, whatever my queen has here in the diaspora where she's at, find out those boots on the ground, those community initiatives. They need what? Money. We can pray all we want to. We can meditate all we want to. We can send all the vibrations, but they need money. You know why the Manzugus and everybody is successful when they get there? Because they drop ship all of the aid from the sky. They drop ship aid to our people when it's our people that they're sending out from Africa, and then they just dwindle a little bit back to us. So this is what I see the strategy to be. If you can partner with Michael where you are in America, and you can take advantage of his tax shelter where when it comes out, you pay zero. Listen to the fine print. The details is in the fine print. The devil is in the details, and the details is in the fine print. When that money comes out, apart from you building up your community and the eyes seeing right that's up that we are building our community, that money now find Africa. So when our leaders, when the people in Africa don't have to feel the pressures, all of the initiatives that all of our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and in the motherland is implemented, they need money. And it's better when the money comes from us and it's not a loan. A loan doesn't have legs and hands attached to it. If we can send our own people the initiatives and it's from us and there's no strings attached, the strings attached is that you build, you rise up, and you teach. We are here. We want to help you, but we also have to help ourselves first, because when my son goes out of this door in Canada, when he walks out of this door, right, yes, sir, in Canada, I want him to be in a community where nobody feel like they could touch him, because they know all hell is going to break loose because we have money power. So we have to, it is imperative that we build up where we are. And when we're building up where we are, we keep the money within. We create an environment where our kids could walk out of that door and our community is self-sufficient. We have our fire, our medical, our law, our schools. It's our community. And Michael will go more into that with the time that he has. How he's modeling that. It's going to be our community. And my prophet, we could have your erudition taught in our schools in America, in Canada. They can get Aphrodite. They can get the Afrocentric, all of the information that you have in the UKK. They can be a part of our school system. And as we rise them up, we're also teaching them about the financial security, but also the financial responsibility that they send the money back to Africa. That's what the Chinese do. The Hindustans that's here also in Canada, they send the money right back.
Yeah, rise up, sister lady. Oh, on fire! For real, my sis. You know, we have to be the change that we want to see. And as was said earlier in the talk, you know, Africa can change within one generation. We can rise up Africa within one generation if we have that right mindset. And if we have a powerful Africa, then wherever in the world we are powerful. Just imagine, you know, if a child in Canada or a child in America is assaulted by the police and the African government stands up and says, that's my African child. You know, we want your embassy to come to our offices right now and account for what's happened. We want to know what investigations are happening, what actions are going to be taken. We want this matter looked into. A powerful Africa will be able to defend us as a people and defend our children wherever we are in the world. But a weak Africa will not be able to come to our rescue or our defense at all. You mentioned, Lady O, when you was talking about aid as well, and I've got some information here. Let me quickly bring that to you, and then we're going to go back to the panel. It says here that in 2012, the last year of recorded data, developing countries received a total of 1.3 trillion, including all aid, that's investment, income from abroad. They received a total of 1.3 trillion. This is so-called developing countries. But that same year, 3.3 trillion actually flowed out from those same countries to the developed, so-called developed worlds. In other words, developing countries sent 2 trillion more to the rest of the world than what they received from the so-called developed world. And if we look at all the years since 1980, these net outflows actually add up, it says, to an eye-popping total of 16.3 trillion. That's how much money is being drained out and leaked out of sub-Saharan Africa and has been for the last decade and continues to, because we need to, as well as, you know, doing what we need to do wherever we are in the world, also make sure that we have our sights and our interest in what's going on in Africa, because a powerful Africa economically, a powerful Africa politically, a powerful Africa spiritually means that Africa can contribute towards our development wherever we are in the world. When African businesses go to Africa, and they're pitching to African governments to help build their infrastructure, where do we think they're getting that money from? They're getting it from their Chinese banks. When the Indians comes to Africa to do business, they're being backed and supported by the Indian banks, because the Indians are investing in their banks, which means that they have money to then reinvest in their nation's businesses. And so it's really important, whatever strategies that we develop, that we also consider how it can be applied on the motherland to contribute towards the growth and development of the continent. And if we all had that mindset, it would influence our actions. Our thinking would influence our actions and our strategies and our plans. And we could see the change happening globally almost overnight. But, you know, we're getting there. I rolled out some statistics earlier as proof and evidence that no matter how difficult and challenging it may appear, when you look at the growth and development compared to other countries in the world, Africa is out there leading the world in terms of growth and development, hence COVID, to try and set us back. I won't go into the figures right now because I want to go around the panel, but I can actually show you how they've actually moved some of those progressive African countries from a position of, where they were reducing their debt to now where they've indebted them again, with these huge COVID loans. But I'm not going to digress. But, because we're going to continue to talk about how we can use money and our economic strategies and plans to help develop us as a people wherever we are in the world. Let's go to Brother Michael, then back to Prophet, then Lady Kai and Lady O to finish off our discussion this evening. Brother Michael, a lot's been said, a lot's been discussed. Let's bring you back in so we can hear your views, thoughts, and opinions, please.
Sure. So I think the one thing, the theme that every single person in this panel is and also being said comments is that we must become chess masters at this game. We have to become chess masters, which means we must move strategically. We must think 6 or 7 steps ahead. We have to understand what will be the movements against those who come against us, right? So I talked about how Malcolm X said there are 3 philosophies to Black nationalism: political, economic, and social. I said that there are 3 things that white terrorists respond to: violence or the threat thereof, money, and votes. Now, we need to have a base of at least 2 of those. So, and economics has to be a central one, right? Because it's with the economic base that you're able to fund the political base. It's with the economic base that you're able to fund the social and the educational base that's necessary. It's with the economics that you're able to defend yourself, right? It's the threat. It's, again, violence or the threat thereof. The reason why the United States will never, ever attack China, and they do all this rattling of their sabers, is because China has nuclear weapons, mutually assured destruction, right? And so, but China also made sure that it's tied at the hip economically with the U.S. by buying the U.S. treasuries. So there are strategies that we can learn from other cultures in the way that they deal with these white terrorists, but we have to build an economic base. And so the strategy and the plan that we've come up with in the United States, it all starts with investment clubs. And this is what I say: investment clubs is the first piece of a 1,000-piece puzzle, because ultimately we must own and control all pieces of the supply chain, right? We talk about real estate being the economic base, right? But there's also, you have to control your communication system, right? We don't control no communication system. I don't see no Black-owned cable company. I don't see no Black-owned cellular company. Okay, we create a bunch of content, but whose platform is it on? Right? We have to control all of it, because if we don't own all of it, it can be taken away from us at any time. Okay. So let me tell you real quick what we're doing here in the United States. The city of Detroit is our template. And the reason why it's our template is the blackest city in the United States. It is 90% Black. It is one of the hardest economically hit cities in the United States, had the largest public bankruptcy in 2013, but it has come back with a vengeance, with white money flowing into Detroit to rebuild the downtown areas and the waterfronts, what they consider the most valuable areas. They have then gentrified areas around downtown where they want white people to live close to where they work. But they've left the Black areas decimated. Go onto Google Maps, turn on the satellite view, look at certain areas of Detroit. It will look like a war zone. Okay? No, is that if we roll out our plan and it's successful in Detroit, that it can be then replicated in other areas. And we have a very aggressive time span for doing that. 2021 is the year to roll it out into Detroit, to refine our system, to roll the system out, to document how the system works, to train on the system. 2022, we're going to replicate that system in 20 additional U.S. Black cities throughout the United States. And then in 2023, we're going to roll out another 20, so that within a 3-year period, we're going to try to have 41 Black cities in the United States that are implementing this system and building these economic centers. Okay. Now, the same thing can be done in the UK. The same thing can be done in Canada. All you have to do is take our system and tweak it, adjust it to fit your specific situations. The same things can also be done in Africa, right? We have to be strategic about it. And again, just like pieces of a puzzle, they're all linked. And so what I would like to end on my part saying is we must become chess masters at this game. We must prepare and respond accordingly. We must re-educate the Black community. We must support and provide for the Black community. And for me and those that are here in the US, we must survive America by all means necessary.
Rise up, my brother. Family, our brother Michael's website address is on the screen now. Check it out. There's a lot of information there about the Black business strategy that he's been touching on for us today. Thank you so much, Brother Michael. Prophet Kwaku.
Yeah, I want to go back to something Sister Lady O said. And everybody's saying, and somebody wrote it in the chat. Money is going to be obsolete soon. They're going into Bitcoin and Lumi and all these different kind of fund. They're changing the dynamics. They're changing the game. So yes, Michael, we have to be very good chess players. Still thinking that we must invest in Africa. For one thing that Sister Shanice said, there's the Europeans send $1 trillion of aid, they take 2 trillion out. So how can you take 2 trillion out of somewhere where ain't got no money? Yeah?
Nice.
In this country here, they've got a thing they call furlough, where they might pay people for stealing because, you know, this COVID thing. A 280 billion it costs them already, you know. And nobody now got work. So where do I get them the money from? Africa, they might get the money from. The money there, Africa. Yeah? All the resources that we need is in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that we're doing, Africa must be at the center of it. So yes, Michael, I will look at your website and I will have a look at your thing. But my whole thing is about redeveloping Africa. And the main thing is this. All these strategies that you're talking about, brother. You see, if you can't militarily protect it, they will take it from you. And where you gonna do? If you can't defend it physically, where you gonna do? Because that's how these guys are terrorists. That's what they do. History is best qualified to reward our research. Malcolm X tell us that. Study your enemy, and you know how to deal with him in the future. If we don't build up a defense force to defend our things, everything else we're doing is going to fall apart. And lastly, we don't have leaders in Africa. We have treasoners in Africa who's doing business. There's only 1 or 2 of them. Them is not leaders. They're neo-colonial masters. And we must educate our children them about these terms, about the behavior and the actions of these type of neo-colonialists who will sell out them people them. So there's very few leaders in Africa right now. They're treasonous people that occupy those places. Some of them is standing up now. Kagame in Rwanda, and my man down in Tanzania, yeah, and even the Ghanaian prime minister, I start lick out upon them with certain things. But we must have a Central African Defense Force. And I'm not just talking about dropping bombs. I'm talking about cyber defense. Yeah? I'm talking about economical defense, cultural defense, spiritual defense, and physical defense. Hotep.
Hotep, rise up, Prophet. Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. Let's go over to Lady Kai on the Diaspora channel.
Thanks so much. Like, there is so much I personally embrace by hearing everything, everyone on the panel said. And what I can say, towards the end is we African people, some people say Black people, we are powerful and we can do anything. It's all about us being organized. So the right strategy have to be on the table. We have to buy from our brothers and sisters. And we also have to learn to start trusting one another. So it's good, it's beautiful to meet here online and, discuss about lots of different things that have been affecting us for so long.
Excuse me.
But if you're really the type that want to be part of the solution, the emails is already in the chat, because there are lots of things we have in store, we are working on right now. And personally, I don't like putting things out, and I'm sure the panel will agree with this. So make sure you contact, you send us an email, and then our monthly meeting, you will be able to join that. I personally promote Black businesses only on my channel. That's what I do. That's what I dedicate my time and energy to keep doing. Yes, some people will find it boring promoting businesses. I say that's your own. But I know it matters. Our businesses matter. So wherever you are, we are talking about what? Power. Where the power comes from? We can say so many things, but if we don't have the money, we can have great ideas, great plans, but we need the money to start moving things around. So if you are the type that, you don't support our businesses, please kindly, humbly know that you are also part of the problem. Start supporting our businesses wherever you are. And then the next step is for us to meet and you letting us know what you are doing, what you can actually put on the table. Because, all of us, we want the change. And I think, and I know that we are ready for it. So now let's be organized and keep it moving, because we can actually do this. So people in the chat, beautiful family in the chat, they are asking for your contact. So please, everyone on the panel, please put your contacts in and you can know more. I put also my Instagram link in the chat. You can DM me, you can email me, and I'm going to do the same for our brothers and sisters. Also that are like-minded people that are more about change, because I said it already last time. Where is the white savior complex comes from? It's because they don't see people like us. That's how it used to be on the continent, helping, moving things around. So they think the person have to look certain way to be someone that can help them, that can change things around. No, we are powerful, we are strong, we are smart people, and we definitely can do this. But one thing I'm going to beg our brothers and sisters here, let's be organized. And thanks so much for having me on tonight, Sister Shanice. And so good, meeting Brother Michael. I would love to know more about what he's doing. Brother Kweku, he's right here, not far from where I live. So I'll just cross the road and we take it. from there and Lady O, I'll definitely email you. But we have lots of work to do. And let's start now. If you don't remember anything from this stream at all, no, money is power. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my sister. And just want to add to what you're saying. I mean, the time has whizzed by already. We're just a minute away from the top of the hour. I want to thank each and every one of my panel members for your contribution today. Their contact details is in the chat. Do go to the websites and do get in touch for more information. And just to remind us, you know, that we are what money is. You know, we are the energy, you know, and we are the ones that have the currency, and we are the ones that can determine what we do with that money. And therefore, we have the power to be the change that we want to see. We are the creators. We are the ones who are able to think creatively and then to manifest that creativity into existence. If we look back into history and we see the wonderful, monumental, huge, colossal cities, empires, kingdoms, and buildings that our ancestors did, it just gives you a glimpse into our potential as a people. And so we need to start thinking outside of the box, acting outside of the box, and reclaiming our greatness as a people, and begin to look inside for the answers that we're looking for to manifest, because inside of us the answers to all of the problems. And as Michael said very early on, we could, you know, Africa could be a leading technological country with continent rather within one generation, which means that we, the now generation, have the power to be the change that we want to see. So we want to leave you on that note where hopefully you feel empowered to begin to manifest, you know, that creativity within you, and wherever you are in the world and in whatever you are doing. Remember, if Africa is powerful, we are all powerful. If Africa is strong, we are strong. You take holidays, holiday in Africa. You're looking to buy a product, look to see if Africa has that product that you can buy from Africa, rather than going to Alibaba and supporting China. If you're looking to find a business partner, you know, ADDI are doing huge amounts of work on the continent to identify credible business partners that we can partner with. If you are interested in the model that our brother Michael was outlining today, go to his website, find out more, and contact him to see how you can maybe set up a similar model or franchise within the country or within the area where you are, so that you could be helping to contribute towards the growth and development of our community. Let's be conscious about where we're spending our money, who we're spending our money with, and how we're spending the money, and how we are investing it. Let's find each other, support each other. Someone was asking whether Prophet's got land in Africa, a house in Africa. He's got land in Africa. He's got about 500 acres of land in Africa. It's awaiting its developers. It is awaiting the real estate developers to come in with a plan to develop it. Maybe we'll have to do a show just on that. So on that note, I want to rise up the entire family, all of our viewers and family. Please be black with us, same time, next strong, and also have a blacktastic strong. More love, more power, more voodoo. Hey, and I think we got Dynasty Mir joining us next strong as well. So tune in nice and early. He's a man that's doing the rounds across Africa. Voodoo, more power, more strength, more love. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Prophet. Thank you, Sister Kai and Lady O. Sister Shanice out of here for now. Rising up the panel. Hotel.
Peace and love.